We are not going to get to human-level AI by just scaling up LLMs. This is just not going to happen, okay?
That's your perspective.
There's no way, okay? Absolutely no way. And whatever you can hear from some of my more adventurous colleagues, it's not going to happen within the next 2 years. There's absolutely no way in hell to, pardon my French, the idea that we're going to have, a country of genius in a data center, that's complete BS, right? There's absolutely no way. What we're going to have maybe is systems that are trained on sufficiently large amounts of data that any question that any reasonable person may ask will find an answer through those systems. And it would feel like you have, a PhD sitting next to you, but it's not a PhD you have next to you. It's, a system with a gigantic memory and retrieval ability, not a system that can invent solutions to new problems. System that can invent solutions to new problems, which is really what a PhD is. Okay, this is
That's actually the whole deal.
It's connected to this post that Thomas Wolf made, that you inventing new things requires the type of skill and abilities that you're not going to get from LLMs. So there's a big question, which is, the investment that is being done now is not done for tomorrow. It's done for the next few years, and most of the investment, at least from the Meta side, is investment in infrastructure for inference. Okay, so let's imagine that by the end of the year, which is really the plan at Meta, we have 1 billion users of Meta AI through smart glasses, a standalone app and whatever. Glasses, a standalone app and whatever. You got to serve those people, and that's a lot of computation. So that's why you need, a lot of investment in infrastructure to be able to scale this up and, build it up over months or years. And so that, that's where most of the money is going. At least on the side of companies like Meta and Microsoft and Google and potentially Amazon. Then there is. So this is just operations, essentially. Now, is there going to be the market for 1 billion people using those things regularly, even if there is no change of paradigm? And the answer is probably yes. So even if the revolution of a new paradigm doesn't come within 3 years, this infrastructure is going to be used. There's very little question about that. Okay, so it's a good investment, and it takes so long to set up data centers and all that stuff that you need to.
With everything that has been pushed in the anticipation that it is going to get even better from here.
Well, so again, it's a question of timeline, right? When are those systems going to become sufficiently reliable and intelligent so that the deployment is made easier? But this situation you're describing, that beyond the impressive demos, actually deploying systems that are reliable is where things tend to falter in the use of computers and technologies, and particularly AI. This is not new. It's basically why we had super impressive autonomous driving demos 10 years ago. But we still don't have level 5 self-driving cars, right? It's the last mile that's really difficult, right? And cost a lot of money to IBM, including the CEO. And what happens is that actually deploying those systems in situations where they are reliable and actually help people and don't hurt the natural conservatism of the labor force. This is where things become complicated. We're seeing the same, the process we're seeing now with the difficulty of deploying AI system is not new. It's happened absolutely at all times. This is also why, some of your listeners perhaps are too young to remember this, but there was a big wave of interest in AI in the 1980s, early 1980s, around expert systems. And the hottest job in the 1980s was going to be knowledge engineer, and your job was going to be to sit next to an expert and then turn the knowledge of the expert into rules and facts that would then be fed to a inferent animal and human are capable of doing, and that current AI systems are not capable of doing. And I'm talking about understanding the physical world, having persistent memory, and being able to reason and plan. Those are the 4 characteristics that need to be there. And that requires systems that can acquire common sense, that can learn from natural sensors like video as opposed to just text, just human-produced data. And that's a big challenge. I mean, I've been talking about this for many years now, and saying this is where the challenge is. This is what we have to figure out. And my group and I have, or people working with me and others who have listened to me, are making progress along this line of systems that can be trained to understand how the world works on video, for example, systems that can use mental models of how the physical world works to plan sequences of actions to arrive at a particular goal. So we have kind of secret magic bullet that one company or one group of people is going to invent that is going to just solve the problem. It's going to be a lot of different ideas, a lot of effort, some principles around which to base this that some people may not subscribe to and will go in a direction that is will turn out to be a dead end. So there's not going to be like a day before which there is no AGI and after which we have AGI. This is not going to be an event. It's going to be continuous conceptual ideas that, as time goes by, are going to be made bigger and to scale and going to work better. And it's not going to come from a single entity. It's going to come from the entire research community across the world. And the people who share their research are going to move faster than the ones that don't. And so if you think that there is some startup somewhere with 5 people who has discovered the secret of AGI and you should invest $5 billion in them, you're making a huge mistake.